Most of the time you say actual rent is less, we will take notional rent. And second, you say if you have a more than one house property shall be treated as self-occupied, other will be treated as deemed to be let. Sir, I have not earned any income. Why you are saying it is let, and why should we pay tax? But it was happening for last 50 years. Why to talk about 50 years? Right from 1922, notional income was taken. Thanks to this gentleman, let me tell you, now actual rent received or receivable will be taken. If you give the property on rent, gross rent will be the actual rent received or receivable. If you give the property on rent for 3 months, gross rent will be 3 months. If you give it for 1 year, it will be 1 year. If you don't let out the house property at all, I never use the word self-occupied. You do not let out the house property at all, there will be no income now. There will be absolutely no income. You may be having 10 house properties in India. You will not have to pay any tax on that if it is not let. I have not used the word self-occupied. If it is not let, and if it is let, you will take the gross rent as actual rent received or receivable. Actual rent received or receivable, not the notional rent. Now you will calculate deduction. Number one deduction will be municipal taxes paid. Earlier also it is allowed. Number two deduction will be 20% of the gross rent. You will say it was 30%. Now it will be reduced to 20%. Wait a minute. I know that it has been reduced. Earlier it is 30, now 20. But you have been benefited by presumptive rent is not taken. Second, it is not 20% of the net rent. It is 20% of the gross rent. Why? Earlier we used to take, suppose 100 rupees the rent, 20 rupees the municipal taxes, balance 80. 30% of 80. Now it will not be 30% of 80, it will be 20% of the gross rent, that is 100. So this is the additional advantage we have got. Now somebody was saying, sir, suppose I let out the house for 2 months, then what will happen? You will get the full deduction of municipal taxes, you will get the full deduction of 20%, and you will get the full deduction of interest on money borrowed. Sir, this is the area of tax planning. I said we are meant for tax planning. Where is the problem? You can do it. Even today you are showing rent of a house property which is not let. Today also, many people are showing rent from a house property which has not been let at all. You know that it is 21% because 30% is the deduction. But now, you can make a planning. How? Let it out for 3 months and take full deduction on account of interest loss will be allowed. And if it is not let, no deduction is allowed. If it is not let, no deduction is allowed. If it is let, deduction is allowed to the extent of 20%, municipal taxes, and of course the third point. I always come out with a thing, I said the chartered accountant can plan, let the law comes. You know what happened? There was an interview held where 3 persons were going to be selected. Whenever, you know, a slip comes, I remember an incident, you know, one day my wife was sitting at the back and she sent me a slip. It was written through the, of course, the chairman. It was written on that KISS. He said, sir, at this age, your wife is still loving you at this age, and she's given a word kiss. I said, it is not written kiss. It is written, keep it short, stupid. So I've been given a slip by him that we have to keep it short. So I'm coming to the point, well, major point I'm telling you. So let me complete that joke because that joke is very important for a chartered accountant. We can hear many things, but very few jokes are coming out. So coming back, you know, 3 persons were interviewed. One was a doctor, another was a MBA, and third was obviously a chartered accountant. Questions were asked. They were all giving the same answer, so they were not able to decide what to do, who to select. So a query was raised that we are going to ask you one question, and whoever gives the best answer will be selected. The query raised was, it is raining in torrents, and it is pitch dark at night. You are driving your car. There is only one seat vacant in front. Other seats are all occupied. It is all jam-packed. You can give lift only to 1 person. 3 persons are waiting at red signal. One is the old lady, 75-year-old, to be taken to the hospital. This, and shivering with the cold and wanted to be taken to the hospital. The second is the business tycoon whose car has broken down and he wants a lift also to be taken home. And third, of course, is the beautiful girl standing there. To whom you will give the lift? Doctor said, sir, very simple. I have a noble profession. I'll give lift to the old lady and take her to the hospital for the treatment. Okay, sit down. MBA was asked, what will you do? Sir, business tycoon is standing here. And if I drop him at his residence, I will develop friendship with him and there will be absolutely no difficulty. Whenever I need a job, he will offer me. Okay. The CA was asked, what will you do? He started thinking what to answer. He said, sir, very simple. What will you do? Sir, I'll come out of my car, hand over the key to the business tycoon and will request him kindly take this lady to the hospital and then take the car, and I'm going to enjoy with the girl. Are you understanding the point? All the three things done. The lady taken to the hospital, the business tycoon goes back home, and he enjoys. So therefore, we have a mind to apply. Don't worry. Let the law comes. Coming back, sir. Very important now. If the property is not let, income will be taken as zero. The question is asked, will you be allowed any deduction? I said no deduction, but wait a minute. There is section 74, deduction from gross total income. It says, if the property is not let, but the assessee has borrowed money for the purpose of purchase or construction of a house property, then it will be allowed a deduction to the maximum extent of rupees 1,50,000. 1,50,000 provided the money is borrowed from financial institution. Meaning thereby, self-occupied was also allowed 150,000, but that was a loss from house property. In this case, house property income will be nil. You will be allowed deduction from gross total income. For whom? Not for self-occupied property. Any property which is not let and interest has been borrowed from financial institution, then you will be allowed deduction to the extent of 1,50,000. So there will not be a loss under the head house property, but there will be a deduction from gross total income under. So only through 3, 4 points I have no, because the slip is already with me. Let me tell you 80C section. You know, the worst part was the earlier finance minister was bent upon introducing EET, exempt tax. He was saying for the last 5 years, we will introduce EET. He had brought so many things earlier, fringe benefit tax, commodity transaction tax, banking cash transaction tax, so many. And I have been saying all the places, let this finance minister go, he will have to take FBT along with him. And he took FBT along with him. The worst law ever made was FBT. Let me tell you, he was bent upon going for EET. That means when you deposit the money in Provident Fund, you will get exemption. When the interest is credited, you will get exemption. But when the money is withdrawn, it will be taxable. Sir, we were saying, sir, this is the retirement benefit. This is all retirement benefit we get when we need the most at the time when we retire. Or we need the money for our children. We need the money to start a business for our children, or maybe to get them married. So why have it EET? But he did not listen. Thanks to this man, the day he joined and we gave presentation, that very day he said, no question of EET. It will remain as EEE. Exempt, exempt, exempt. Meaning thereby, now section 80C will be replaced by section 69, but only for 5 items. And that is only for individual. Meaning thereby, if the individual contribute to government provident fund or recognized provident fund or to the public provident fund or to the superannuation fund or to the pension fund, then he will be allowed a deduction to the extent of 1 lakh rupees. Now there is no other item. National Savings Certificate gone, FDR gone, citizen scheme gone, pension scheme gone, everything gone, but these 5 items. Only to individual. Sir, in addition to that, there is section 70, 71, 72. That's all. 70 says, If you have paid a life insurance premium and the premium amount does not exceed 5% of the sum assured, earlier it was 20, now 5% of the sum assured means the minimum life policy will be of 20 years or maybe more than that. If you